we left off yesterday in lesson 8-1. We just finished the front side of the notes, so we're ready to go into the back side of the notes. This example we're going to start by going through is a lot like the example we left off with. Okay? They're giving us a set of information. Notice it says, suppose x and y vary how? Inversely, right? And then they share that x equals 8 when y equals negative 7. What is the function that models the inverse variation? So when they say what is the function that models the inverse variation, what's the equation? So what do we need to find first to be able to write an equation here? We have to find k. You can't write a direct or inverse variation equation without k. So since they tell me this is inverse, how do we find k? Yeah, according to our equations on the front, k is equal to x times y in the inverse situation, right? And lucky for us, they gave us x and y. So k is going to be equal to 8 times negative 7, which is negative 56. Okay. What are my equations I could write here? It said, what is the function that models the inverse variation? There was two different ones we were talking about yesterday. Cyrus?
Y equals negative 56.
Okay. If we go for the y equals version, it's y equals k over x, and we just found k to be negative 56. So y equals negative 56 over x. The other variation we kind of already talked about, right? K equals x times y. And so you could possibly write the equation as xy equals negative 56. And again, it just depends on what we're doing, what you're being asked as to which one we want here. Okay? So we're okay with example A? Given an x and a y, you can write an equation. Okay. B, what does a graph of the function look like? So, what are we going to do to figure out what this graph looks like? Allie? Yeah, we need an XY chart, don't we? Now, keep in mind, you officially have two equations you can talk about, right? You can use y equals negative 56 divided by x, or you can use xy equals negative 56. If you recall from yesterday, the one I basically had us thinking about was what two numbers multiply to give me what I need, right? I wasn't really thinking in terms of division. I was just thinking in terms of factors. So, xy, where should we start? And again, I'm going to list them all for right now. Whether we graph them all is a different story. But just get you guys in the process here. What's the first pair of numbers that multiply to be negative 56? Okay, so it was stated as 1 and negative 56, right? Okay. Check 2. Does 2 divide into 56?
Yes.
2 and what?
Negative 28.
Okay, so 2 and negative 28. 3, does 3 go?
No.
Okay, 3 doesn't go. 4? 4 and 14, so 4 and negative 14. 5?
No.
6?
No.
7. 7 and negative 8. Does 8 go? Yeah, we just had that pair, but do I need to keep going? Yeah, because right here we'd only have half the graph. Okay, she sent you back? Okay. So if we say 8, it's 8 and negative 7. Make it easy on yourself. Just reverse the pairs, right? What else are we going to list? 14 and negative 4. 28 and negative 2. 56 and negative 1. I listed all of the appropriate options?
No.
Why do we need another chart? What options have we left off? Negative x's, right? We did right there where it was positive x and negative y. Does it have to be a positive x and negative y to multiply and get a negative? No, we could flip it and have a negative x, positive y. Does that make sense? So you're always going to have two sets. Yesterday when we were multiplying to get a positive, it was either two positives or two negatives. Here it's going to be a positive and a negative, which is what we just did, or a negative and a positive, which doesn't sound like it's different, but yet it is, isn't it? Now, let's see. If I'm going to be smart about this, what am I not going to graph? Definitely not graphing my 56s. I could probably leave off my 28s as well. And again, that's just, am I going to count 56? Am I going to count 28? And I'm not really set up to. So if we take the 1, 2, 3, 4 pairs I have there, instead of 4, negative 14, we're going to say negative 4, 14, right? Negative 7, 8, negative 8, 7, and negative 14, 4. So we have the pairs where x is negative now. Okay, shall we check out this graph, see what it looks like? Notice what I did on my graph. I split it into 4 quadrants. Because what's going to be in the first quadrant? Yesterday we had something in the first quadrant, didn't we? Today, there's going to be absolutely nothing in the first quadrant. So it would be pointless for me to just add on like I did yesterday. So I took the one quadrant we're given here, and I basically drew my axes in at the 10s. And I'm ready to go. So, where does something like 4, negative 14 go? Right 4 and down 14, which, if that bottom line is 10 on mine, mine's about there. Down 8. Right 8 down 7. It's just diagonal from the last point I did. And 14, negative 4. So, again, estimating, if this line actually, that final line is 11 on mine. Approximately there. Do you see the same shape as yesterday? And I mean, visualize if you need to. What if we had done 1, negative 56? That'd be right 1, way down here, right? 2, negative 28, right 2, way down here. So the idea is we still have this graph. We just don't have quite the points to show it. Sorry, I didn't realize I was kind of off the edge of the screen there. But it's still the same piece of information. Now, yesterday we were in quadrant 1 and 3. Notice now I just landed in quadrant 4. Without graphing the other one, can you guess where it's going to end up? Quadrant 2. I was just graphing these ordered pairs right here, if you're trying to figure out where my dots are. Okay? So, negative 4, 14 means I'm going to go left 4 and up 14, which I think my top line is 11 on this one. I don't know. Thereabouts. Go left 4 and a few up. Negative 7, 8. So I left 7 up 8. I'm also going to go left 8. So one more. Up 7. And then negative 14, 4. Something like that. And again, remember these are forming these curves that curve out to make my inverse curve. Now, Math Excel, you're probably picking graphs, aren't you? You don't actually have to graph it though, do you? Okay.
Almost identical and it's really hard to detect.
Ah, so do you have to zoom in to be able to see it?
Yeah.
Okay, good to know. So you can narrow it down to 2 pretty easily. And then past that, it's figuring out which of those 2. Okay. Okay. And so that's where you can think about some ordered pairs to help you along, right? Okay. Oh, I almost forgot part C. You guys wouldn't have let me move on without part C, would you? I was all set my brain to move on. What is y when x is 2? How'd you know that so quickly?
Because sometimes say you do x and y, you do 2y equals negative 56, okay? And then divide the 2 over, and then y is negative.
Okay.
Or you could just plug it into the y.
Okay. So I heard 3 options there. Okay. I heard using xy equals negative 56, divide the 2 over. I heard using y equals negative 56 over x, plug the x in. I heard it's on our xy chart. Are those all valid options?
Yeah.
All perfectly good valid options. Okay. So if I want to write something official down, I'm going to pick an equation. And again, it could be either equation. So negative 56 divided by 2, which is negative 28. The one we did yesterday was not in our XY chart, so that wasn't really an option there. But this one is. Okay, everyone got it? Okay, let's go jump down and look at combined variation. Now, when we talk about combined variation, we're still talking about direct variation. We'll start still talking about inverse variation. And then we're going to throw in the word joint variation. Okay, so let me write them down here. With direct variation, what is our y equals equation for direct variation? It's y equals k times x. So anytime you talk about direct variation, it's a constant times the variable. And this is straight off of the front side of your notes, correct? So I'm not asking for magic here. What is inverse variation if it's y equals? Yeah, I just used it on part C there, didn't I? Y equals k over x. Okay, so the given variable. Okay, that's the connection we need to know here. Now, you will also see them throw in the word jointly. And so they throw in the word jointly when there's more than one variable thrown in. But when they throw in the word jointly to say that, in this case, this example, z varies jointly with x and y, when they say jointly, basically, it's direct variation, but with 2 variables instead of just 1. Or maybe I should say 3 variables instead of 2. Okay, so this would be the idea of saying z varies directly with x and y. And 2 of them. Another example, z varies jointly. What did I just say as a word instead of jointly? Directly, so it's like direct variation. So directly with x and y, which means it's going to be k times x and y. And then what about inversely? Instead of multiplying, you're going to divide. And so the example here, z varies. So when I see z varies or something varies, I think z equals. directly with x and y, so it's k times those. Inversely with w means it's divided by w. A last kind of example, z varies directly with x and inversely with the product of wy. Z varies, so notice what it starts off with. Z equals directly with x. So what do you notice about directly? K times x. Inversely with the product of wy. So inversely with the product of wy is going to be divided by wy. Okay, those are all just various examples trying to go over the vocab. What we're going to do is we're going to set some up, and they're going to give us numbers to fill in and find the missing pieces. Okay? So, work with me here on trying to fill these in. Now, let's see, there's a typo somewhere on this first one.
What is n?
Yeah, there's no n in the problem. So that should say, what is z? It's all about what? Z, A, and W, and then they say, what is N? Typo. Okay, so, one piece at a time here. Just read the first sentence. Don't worry about anything past that first sentence, because this tells me how to set up my equation. Z varies directly with A and inversely with W. Z varies. What am I going to write? Z equals. Do you guys remember me saying that earlier? If it's Z varies, or whatever it is, variable, Z equals. Directly with A. What does directly with A mean? We're going to multiply, and we always throw that K in on top, right? So K times A. Inversely with W. What's inversely say we're going to do? Divide. So we're going to say divided by W. That's the equation to guide this whole problem. Are you okay with how I got that? Z varies, so Z equals directly with A, so it's K times A. Inversely with W, basically means it's K divided by W, but we already have the K there. Okay, so this is the equation we're going to work with on this problem. Okay? Second sentence. Or second, not even a complete sentence yet. If A equals 36, when Z equals 2 and W equals 3. How could I use that information I just read? Plug it in and find K. Because that's the whole thing. They'll give you all the other values. You have to be able to find K. So I'm going to take this equation that we just created. Z equals KA over W. Plug it in. Z was 2. K is what I'm trying to find. A is 36. W is 3. What would you like to do to solve for K? I could go one of two ways here, depending on what you guys see. What do you see, Cyrus?
Multiply by 3.
Okay. She sees that it's a divide by 3. So she's going to multiply by 3. Over here, 2 times 3 will be 6. And then we'll have 6 equals 36K. And then what will you have to do? Divide by 36. Curiosity, did anyone see the other way I was talking about? If you didn't, that's fine. The other option, and I'm going to go with what Cyrus said, you could have also started right here with 36 divided by 3 and gotten 12, so 12k equals 2, and then you'd have to divide by 12. It's still 2 steps essentially, isn't it? Okay, so, I mean, you know, you see the divide by 3. Okay, I've got to get rid of that divide by 3. So 2 times 3 is 6. So I end up with 36k equals 6. If I divide by 36, I'm going to stick fraction, folks. What is 6 divided by 36? It reduces to be 1/6. Okay? Now, we had an original equation, yes? What do we know about that equation? K is 1/6, right? So if it was originally Z equals KA over W, I can now say, it doesn't look very pretty. I probably should use better math than that, but I just said 1/6 A over W. Officially, it would be A over 6W, but it works for what we're getting ready to do. Because, have you read the last part here? What's it say? What is Z? So what am I finding? Z. When A is 90 and W is 3. Can you plug all of that in? Yeah. What is Z? So Z equals, we already know K is 1/6. A, we were just told to use 90. And W, we were told to use 3. What is 1/6 of 90? What? Not 30. 15. And the shortcut is there 90 divided by 6, right? So 90 divided by 6 is 15. And what is 15 divided by 3? 5. Now, if you took a slight different route along the way, but you got to the same answer in the end, that is possibly okay. Okay, questions on that one? Did you kind of follow? And I'm not going to leave you hanging. We're going to try another one to make sure that, you know, we're all good here. Okay. If you guys are ready, let's try B. Z varies jointly with A and D. If A equals 120, when Z equals 10 and D equals 3, what is Z when A is 200 and D is 4? Sounds like a lot all blurred together, doesn't it? Which is why I didn't read it all out originally. Start with a step. Look at the first sentence. Get your equation. Z varies jointly with A and D. Z varies. What am I going to use for varies? Equals. So Z equals. Jointly with A and D. What did I say about jointly? It's the same idea as directly. It's just that there's 2 variables instead of 1. So directly, and when we do direct variation, what do? Multiply. So if it's directly with A and D, what am I going to write? K times A times D. Always get that constant in there. Direct, joint, inverse, any type of variation, get that constant in there. Okay. Z equals KAD. Okay. If A equals 120, when Z equals 10 and D equals 3. What am I using with this information? Yeah, let's plug it in and let's find K. If Z equals KAD, then 10 equals K times 120 times 3. Okay. What is 120 times 3? 360. So I have the equation 10 equals 360k. How do I solve for k? Divide by 360. Now, be smart. Don't grab the calculator. 10 over 360. How can I simplify that? A 0 at the end of both can cancel, right? And so k is 1/36. And I'm not saying you can't use a calculator to do that, but I'm just trying to remind you of a basic, they both have a 0 on the end before the decimal. You can strike out a 0, right? Divide them both by 10. Okay? You ready? What is Z when A is 200 and D is 4? Well, what's my equation? It was originally Z equals KAD. If I just put the K in, my official equation is Z equals 1/36 AD. But they told me A and D. So 1/36 times 200 times 4. Make sure you don't go back and grab the wrong A and D that we already used, because I just about did that. I say that as a word of warning just because I about did that. Okay. Well, we've got 1/36 times 200 times 4. What is 200 times, well, I don't know. Which way do you guys want to do this? Yeah, it's a decimal either way, or fraction, depending. So 200 times 4 is 800. So this is 800 over 36. However, they both had a 4. So if I divide them by 4, really it's 200 over 9. If you go as a mixed number, 9 goes into 200 22 times with a remainder of 2. So it is 22 and 2/9. And those of you saying, just get to the calculator answer, it is 22.2 repeating. They're all valid answers in my mind. What Math Excel would want, who knows? Questions on that one? Okay. Let's try C. Has anyone tried C, or did you guys all get scared of too many words and wait for me? C is the same thing we were just doing, but throwing in more words. You just have to decipher out the situation. The volume of gas varies directly when its temperature with its temperature, and inversely with pressure. Volume is 100 meters cubed when the temperature is 150 Kelvin and the pressure is 15 pounds per centimeter squared. What is the volume when the temperature is 250 Kelvin and the pressure is 20 pounds per centimeter squared? I don't know if you see it or not, but we can do this one exactly how we did the last two ones. You just have to get past the words. So, do me a favor. First sentence. The volume of gas varies. So what are you thinking? Huh? Okay, so we see varies. Varies, we're going to think equals. What is it that's varying? I'm going to say volume. And so I am going to go with V equals. I am off the screen, aren't I? Thank you. Better? Okay. The volume of gas varies directly. And as I said, that should say with. At least it makes more sense to say with. So varies directly. What's directly mean we're going to do? Yeah, that means it's going to have to be K times something. Directly with what? Temperature. What are you guessing for temperature? T. So K times temperature and inversely. What's inverse tell me? Divide. And what are we varying inversely with? Pressure, which I'm going to use P. So they weren't nice enough to give me the equation, but if you can get through that first sentence, you have an equation to work with, right? Okay, you ready for the next part? Volume is 100 meters cubed, so 100 goes in for V. When the temperature is 150 Kelvin. So 150 is going to be my temperature, and the pressure is 15. So can we use our equation to find K? It's V equals KT over P. V is 100. K times T is 150. Divided by pressure, which is 15. Are you okay with what I did? Okay. I'm going to take us this way this time. What is 150 divided by 15? 10. So what if I say that my equation is now 100 equals 10K? Are you guys okay with that? Solve for K. Divide by 10, and what is K? 100 divided by 10 is 10. So can you write your new equation? It was V equals KT over P, so V equals 10T over P. And I didn't even read the last sentence yet, did I? What is the volume? So we're finding V when the temperature is 250 and the pressure is 20. So I'm going to do 10 times temperature of 250 divided by a pressure of 20. Times 250 divided by 20 works out to be 125?
That be meters cubed.
That was going to be a question. What's the label? And here's my cheat would be, what did they label volume earlier? Volume is meters cubed. Okay, guys. Some of you said you started lesson 8-1. Your job is to finish it. If you haven't started it, your job is to finish and start it. Due tomorrow. Yes. You'll need to sign out. Now, you guys have, I don't know, about 6 minutes I managed to get you. So, you have a couple minutes work time.